be upstanding for your Chairman of Council, Councillor Darshan Sangha.
Thank you, members. Over to Mr. Woodall for the webcasting introduction, please.
Thank you. The Chairman would like to remind everyone present that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing or other such use by third parties. If you're seated in the lower public seating area, it is likely that the recording cameras will capture your image, and this will result in the possibility that your image will become part of the broadcast. This may infringe your human and data protection rights, and if you wish to avoid this, you should move to the upper public gallery. And could I also please remind members to switch on their microphone before speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woodall. If you can take us through to the apologies of absence, please.
Thank you, Chairman. We have apologies tonight from Councillors Barlow, Bassett, Bedford, Jennings, Lisa Morgan, Sharif and Holly Whitbread. We also have apologies for lateness from Councillor Heap.
Thank you, Mr. Woodall. Members, Councillor.
Sorry, also apologies for lateness for Councillor Lucas and Matthews, please.
Councillor Kane.
And Councillor Helen Kane, unfortunately.
And Councillor Helen Kane, please, if that could be recorded. Members, any other apologies for absence? I can see this. Two members just joining us. Okay. Item number 3 is declarations of interest. Members, do you have any declarations of interest for any of the items on the agenda for tonight? No? Good. Thank you for joining us, Councillor Matthews and Councillor. Thank you. Item number 4 is minutes of the meeting that was held on the 20th of June 2023. Can I have your approval for those minutes, please, members? Agreed. Thank you. Okay, announcements is item number 5. Members, what can I say, but I really did hit the ground running, or should I say cycling. 3 days after my election as chairman, we had the Ride London cycle event travel through our district. Epping High Street came alive with activities, performances and information stalls. The atmosphere was incredible. Crowds gathered along the route in the sunshine to cheer and show their support for the over 25,000 riders taking part in the event. Since the event started in 2013, over 80 million has been raised for £80 million has been raised for charities. So well done to everybody who took part in that. Another event I attended took place at the end of June. It was a networking event for charities and community groups hosted by Grange Farm Trust and Voluntary Action Epping Forest. 28 local charities were represented. Some I was already aware of, and there were some I never even heard of. It was a real eye-opening afternoon. It was a wonderful opportunity for the local charities and local community groups to network and develop linked working relationships. I was really amazed at the diversity of the help and advice available, and I would really encourage all members here tonight to connect with VAF to gain a better understanding of the support that these local charities offer through their work with volunteering, community and local charities. On the 10th of July, I was invited to present the Jack Petchey Achievement Awards. On the evening, there was about 70 young people from our district, and 5 lead awards were presented to winners from schools and youth from within our district. Each of these young people were recognised for their outstanding individual achievements I was amazed by what they really had accomplished and inspired by their hopes for the future. And one final event I would like to make a special mention of was a visit to the Essex and Herts Air Ambulance base at North Weald. This was to meet an incredibly special man. His name was Ken Whalett. Ken is the chairman of the Lotus Drivers Club and unfortunately suffered a cardiac arrest at the airfield at the back end of May. And he was actually in the news as well, in the papers. However, two members of our own very own staff that were on duty on that day were Darren Goody and Mike Whittam. They were the first two people to arrive on the scene and administer life-saving first aid to Ken. It is at times like this, that we realize how important such life-saving skills and training are to achieve to the best possible outcome possible for the patient. Members, I'm sure you will agree with me that we are very proud of our staff, but on this occasion both Darren Goody and Mike Whittam went over and beyond what is expected, and we should put on record our thanks for their calm professionalism and outstanding first aid skills. So if you please join me in thanking Darren and Mike, please. And finally, as you're all awake, yeah, why not? And finally, as you're aware, I've chosen to support a local charity called the Chigwell Riding Trust during my year in office. Chigwell Riding Trust was the first centre of its kind in the world and will celebrate its 60th anniversary next April. To kickstart my fundraising, I have tonight, that you may have noticed from my chain, and the Vice Chairman may want to just show off the nice lapel pin badge. It's a metal badge, and what we're saying is that I'm humbly requesting members around the chamber, if you would like to make a donation of £10. We have limited number of badges. I'm sure I've got about 60 or thereabouts we could acquire. So if you would like to see this young man, my Vice Chairman, Councillor Les Burrows, at the end of this meeting, so please, I do hope you'll be very generous in purchasing one or two of these tonight. Thank you very much. And what I would like to say is perhaps I'd like to invite the Leader of the Council to say if you'd like to buy one and kick-start the campaign. Councillor Whitbread.
Thank you, Chairman. Of course, I'd love to kick-start the campaign. I did think Councillor Burrows had a bag full of sweets there, his normal Murray mints, rather than badges, but more than happy to kick-start your campaign. I think it's a really good charity that does really excellent work for Epping Forest. Thank you very much.
Item number 6 is public questions, if there's any.
No, Chairman, we have no public questions tonight.
Thank you. And item number 7 is questions by members under notice.
None have been received, Chairman.
Thank you. And we'll move on to item number 8, reports from the Leader and members of the Cabinet, which is on pages 7 to 42. So can I invite Councillor Chris Whitbread, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Before I go into my main report this evening, I've just been told this is the best way to record a couple of changes to committees that I need to make for the coming year, following on from the annual full council. The first being to change Jodie Lucas on overview and scrutiny to Ian Hadley, and then on district development control to move Kaz Risby and replace with Councillor Les Burrows, and on licensing to make Tim Matthews one of my subcommittee chairmen. If I could take those as being agreed, Chairman.
Members, can we have that agreed? Agreed, thank you.
Going on to my report, it's always lovely to hear your Chairman's report of all the fun things you do around the district all the time, Chairman, and of course it's good to be a part of some of those sometimes, in particular the events of Ride London through Epping High Street. And you were quite right to commend our teams of staff who worked on that. And of course, last week we saw the celebration of the 15th anniversary of our Youth Council, which I think is another terrific organisation that this council backs fully. And again, I'd like to put on record our thanks to the staff who do such a wonderful job with them. They get better every year and certainly do some wonderful work here on behalf of our council. And they're recognised across the county and indeed, I believe, even nationwide in many circumstances. Chairman, what I would like to remind members of is the ongoing work of the district, working with other partners, really important to us, whether that be health and whether that be other councils. And we've seen post-pandemic how that's going to be more and more vital to us, particularly in the very restricted financial circumstances that all councils find themselves in up and down the country. And to that end, the councils of North Essex I've joined together as a regular meeting committee to discuss some of the issues that we faced. In fact, Councillor Murray very observantly picked up on the lack of planning officers at the overview and scrutiny meeting recently, and there are a whole range of areas where we need to work in partnership with other councils. And indeed, I'm pleased to say Epping Forest is at the ahead of the curve on this, working with partners such as Colchester and Braintree and other councils, and Essex County Council on procurement. So we're already deeply involved in that, and we are an active partner with the North Essex councils, and that's going to be very important as things develop in the future. And we're looking forward to bringing a report to this council, in fact a presentation to all members of this council in the near future. And I'm delighted that I was chosen as its chairman at last week's meeting, so I'm now chairing the North Essex Council's committee alongside David King, the leader of Colchester, as my vice chairman. So we're pleased to report that, and we're looking forward to working with councils from Tendring, Colchester, Uttlesford, Harlow, and all our Chelmsford and all our partners across North Essex. It's a real powerhouse group of people, and I'm sure there's much we can do in the future, whether that be around the economic development side of things, or whether it's to do with planning or other shared services. So we're all quite excited about the prospects for the future. At the same time, it's worth mentioning that the Essex County Council and the other upper tier authorities across Essex are working on a devolution bid, which is taking shape, and there are discussions going on. And again, we will be bringing an all-member briefing very shortly on where we are on that. They're the two key things that are going on around the county at the moment, of course, alongside all the busy things we're doing here in Epping Forest, preparing for next year's budget to make sure that services remain funded, and dealing with the issues of recruitment and retention that affect all councils up and down the country. But of course, most importantly, I know Councillor Phillip touches upon it in his report, is that ongoing monitoring and making sure that we're achieving our savings targets and doing the right things to keep us in a good financial condition here in Epping Forest. Chairman, I will leave it there for now, but happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Councillor Whitbread. Members, do we have any questions for the leader? Happy with the report? Thank you. Are there any other Cabinet members wishing to add anything to their portfolio reports? No? Great. Loving this. Thank you. Item number 9, questions by members without notice. Great. The Vice Chairman will take note of the members who should speak. Can I remind members, I will allocate 30 minutes on this. I'm sure we won't need 30 minutes, but that is what I will allow. But hopefully you will be a bit sympathetic, because I am going to my son's graduation for tomorrow morning, and I need to drive off straight after the meeting. So, okay, so we've got Councillor Murray.
Thank you, Chairman. Mine is about the Broadway Shopping Parade, which is the premier shopping parade in the district, owned by the council. Is there any truth to the rumour that the former housing office, which we haven't actually kept to our commitment on providing anything else within Loughton yet, but that's not my question. Is there any truth in the rumour that's going around the town that that is now going to become a Kentucky Fried Chicken venue? And if that rumour is true, On what basis was that decision made, and was there any consultation with the ward members?
Who'd like to take that? Councillor Phillip.
I have no evidence to suggest that that rumour is true, although I have to say on the very odd occasion, maybe once every 10 years or so, I do get a hankering for Kentucky Fried Chicken. I haven't had one for about that long, but to the best I have heard nothing to substantiate that rumour.
Thank you. Councillor Green.
Thank you, Chairman. I think in the absence of Councillor Holly Whitbread, I'll address this question to the leader, which is the leader able to give an update on the progress of Epping Sports Centre, and can he confirm that the funding is in place to deliver it? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Green. Councillor Whitbread.
Thank you, Chairman. We'll play ping-pong on this one. I will pass to Councillor Phillip in a moment. Yes, indeed, the progress on the Sports Centre is on track. The new car park should be open in mid-September, on track, and therefore Councillor Phillip will then update on timescales and such, and funding most importantly, because obviously that's something we had to do in the budget back in early last year. But I'll pass over to Councillor Phillip for those details.
Councillor Phillip.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Green, the idea is once the new car park is open, we'll give a period of time for people to get used to that before starting work on the sports centre. I can confirm as well that the Economic Development Department has already been in close contact with Pelican to look at what we can do around apprenticeships and the like, and I have to say that Pelican has been very cooperative in that. They're an experienced developer within the local government area with sports centres, so they know what they're doing. Some of it is very specialised and therefore not appropriate for apprenticeships, but where we can, we will do, and they will also advertise for things like local companies to do some of the last fix stuff that's not so specialised. The funding is in place. We brought it forward in the budget. It is a significant amount of money, but that money is allocated in the budget for us to carry on with it. It's all looking good. Once Pelican actually get on site, I'll be able to give you an update about when we actually expect spades in the ground and when we actually expect a completion. I can't wait for a swimming pool in Epping.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phillip. Can we go on to Councillor Mead? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a question for Councillor Patel for Community Health and Wellbeing. So I wanted to congratulate you on the special educational needs summer holiday support that is on offer with the Council. However, I wanted to ask you for support in my quest to set up a parenting support hub for those parents with neurodiverse children who are newly diagnosed with autism, ADHD, selective mutism and other such conditions. I know we have support here in the district via West Essex Inclusion Project, Pact for Autism and Acuro, amongst other charities. But what I'm being told by parents in our district is that very little exists for them here in Epping Forest for parents to get together and talk about the issues about their children. Often their children are newly diagnosed, and these amazing parents have often waited years, 3 or 4 years, sometimes 5 years for a diagnosis, or they saved up to pay privately. When they get the diagnosis, they can feel overwhelmed, lonely and isolated, and once their child is diagnosed, I know from experience it's a very tough road. I would ask if you would be prepared to meet with me and talk about how we can move forwards to support these parents in our district. Preferably peer-to-peer support, so that's parents in touch with other parents. There are some amazing parents in Epping Forest that have a lot of experience with their children with special needs and can support other parents. This is not a monetary, this is not a money matter, but I'm asking for the Council to endorse the support needed for these parents to be in touch with each other, learn from each other. Some parents are not even sure whether their children can attend these special educational need projects that are on offer because they're really confused. Harlow and Saffron Walden are too far for many of these parents where a lot of these clubs are. And we need something more in Epping Forest District Council. So I'm happy to lead on this, if I could have your support to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Patel.
Yes, please. Thank you, Chairman. So, brilliant topic on that one. As soon as I took on the responsibility in May, the first thing I actually did was to visit one of the facilities for the after-school for inclusion that you're talking about, for autism and also for children with heavy disability, like physical disability, which we didn't have before. One of the schools I attended was the primary school in Waltham Abbey. But there is no reason why what you're saying can't be extended and find more locations within the district as well. So more than happy to meet up, talk about it and see where else we can bring in help. And I know Councillor Patel's also mentioned he's also going to bring it up in the health and wellbeing one as well. So
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
It's important.
Thank you, Councillor Patel, and that's a really good question as well. Councillor Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman. My question's to Councillor Whitbread, Leader of Council. At the last ordinary council meeting, I asked you if the cafe and the library are still coming to this building, and your reply was in progress. Please would you tell us what progress has been made, and please could there be a more informative reply this time?
Yep, sorry. Councillor Whitbread.
Thank you, Chairman. Indeed, I was chasing it this afternoon, so hopefully by the next full council I may have a proper update. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Maria Markham, please.
Thank you, Chairman. If I could please put a question to the Cabinet Member for Communities. Could I ask what activities are available locally for young people this summer, please?
Councillor Patel. Could you put your mic on?
Thank you, Chairman. So, yeah, again, I think one of the other after-school club type activities as well, but what we have is play in the park. We've got Tiger who came to tea at the museum, so I know you're asking me to do name specific ones, but we have a brilliant brochure called What's On in Epping Forest in the district, and the link for that is also on our website. Loads and loads of activities, and also I will be pleased to inform that a lot of them are also free. Some of them are charged, but there's a lot available that's for free as well for children to attend, and the booking link is on our website as well, so parents can go onto it and book it directly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, my question was actually for Councillor Bedford, who's not here, about his report, but hopefully someone else can answer it, or if not, they can come back to me. It was around, there was a comment in here about seeking contribution from development that impacts the SAC. I was wondering if anything's changing on here, because we've seen quite a few applications come to planning where, you know, it's building, say, 6 flats, a contribution of, say, £350 each towards the SAC. We saw an office building turn into residential with no contribution, and I was hoping we could potentially get this reviewed at some point to make more meaningful contributions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. I think Councillor Whitbread, would you like to answer that? Or?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for the question. Obviously, Councillor Bedford isn't here this evening. I don't believe anything meaningful has changed with regards to that charging system, but I will come back to you with a proper written answer, which we'll share in the members' bulletin.
Thank you, Councillor Amos. Yes, I've got you down.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is for Councillor Bolgham and maybe also Councillor Phillip. I was very interested in the proposal that we set up an arm's-length company to look after waste management and waste collection. I recall that in the capital budget, there was a proposal to build on Northfield Airfield accommodation for the vehicles. This was at the time when we were talking about going out to contract again. I wonder what effect this proposal that we have our own arm's length company will have on the capital programme. And can I also ask, and I think I probably know the answer to this, can I also ask, please, where is the funding coming from to set up the company? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Amos. Councillor Councillor
I think this is around budget, and it was very sneaky of Councillor Amos to actually sneak 2 questions in when he's only allowed 1. But I shall be kind. The purchase of both the freighters for our refuse collection and the provision of somewhere to store them overnight is key to us being able to have a viable waste contract going forward. If we didn't have those in place, Councillor Balcom's hands would be significantly tied when it came to replacing Biffa. There is no difference, regardless of whether we were doing the waste contract within house, with an arm's length company, or even with a third-party provider. All of those would require us not only to have our own freighters, but to have somewhere to store them. We wouldn't want to leave freighters lying around on the roads overnight. Some people might say that's putting rubbish where rubbish shouldn't be. In terms of funding, it's part of the capital programme. That is the overall funding for the capital programme. We do it by a combination of internal borrowing, external borrowing, and from our capital reserves.
Thank you, Councillor Phillip. Can we move on to Councillor Pond, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is also a question for Councillor Bedford, so unhappy he's not here today, but that's part of the course. This is in his report about the relative failure of the route DART 87, which was the sustainable transport alternative for Arriva having withdrawn Route 87 2 years ago. And it's now being reduced to the merest skeleton service, as is mentioned in his report. The rubric under that admission states that this shows that demand responsive transport might be a reasonable alternative for parts of Epping Forest. That's, there is the Digigo experiment in Braintree. But also, I think that DRT is not an answer to replace ordinary bus services in more urbanised areas, including parts of this district, although it might be in the countryside. So I wanted to hear what his reaction to that might be, but perhaps it might be best to give a written reply.
Unless somebody wants to respond to that, I mean, the written response from Nigel, but Councillor Phillip.
If I can start, Chairman, because I was on the driving forces behind the DART 87 when that route was withdrawn, going from Loughton through Thaden Boyce all the way out to Harlow. We gave it a good shot. We put quite a lot of district money into it when it's nominally a county council funded area. It didn't make sense because we aren't seeing enough travel on it for us to be investing that level. And as members know, and I'm sure you'll get used to hearing me say this over the next 9 months or so, there's no money. We are tight. We're going to, Mr. Small and I will be starting to work on the budget as it says in my report. Last year's was difficult. I don't see this year's being any easier because we've already taken some of the actions that we need to. So we cannot afford to spend money that we don't have on things that are not actually being valued by people. It's not the district council's role to provide transport within the district. I'm sure Councillor Bedford would say something very similar, but where it makes sense for developments, then it may be part of the granting of planning permission.
Thank you, Councillor Phillip. Councillor Brooke.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is that would actually have been to Councillor Hollywood-Brett, but perhaps the leader would like to, reply if he's able to, in Councillor Hollywood-Brett's absence. With the news today that almost 105,000 households were in temporary accommodation at the end of March, and we know that London has been particularly affected, please could you give us an update on the local position here in Epping Forest?
Councillor Brooks, thank you. Councillor Whitbread, would you like to take that one?
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Again, a very good question and taken on to today's news in particular. I'm going to have to ask to get you a written response because I haven't got those figures in front of me at the moment.
Thank you, Councillor Whitbread. Councillor John Whitehouse.
Thanks, Chairman. This is to Councillor Phillips, please. And we're 3/4 of the way through the single-year Qualis business plan, as you know. I just wonder if you could update us on progress towards developing the 4-year business plan that wasn't able to be prepared last year, and when you expect to present that to Cabinet.
Councillor Phillip.
Thank you for that question. Yes, as Councillor Whitehouse knows, I've made the commitment that we will bring back both a one-year and a four-year business plan. It'll come to scrutiny in the autumn time. Exactly when, I don't have a date yet. We have a relatively new financial director at Gollitz. You'll have seen the results of that in terms of the quarterly report that came forward to both Cabinet and to scrutiny. And I think I have to say that both for me and for Mr. Small, the change in that report is significantly beneficial. It's very much more informative, very much more transparent. Given that that's the underpinning the financial side of the business plan, I expect that to be very good coming forward as well. So I expect it in the autumn, whether that's September or October, I don't yet know. We will be looking to change probably the dates of Qualis's financial year to line it up with our financial year for simplicity's sake. So exactly when it's going to come, I don't yet know.
Thank you, Councillor Phillip. Councillor Wixley.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. My question is to Councillor Phillip, Finance Portfolio Holder. And what I'm actually going to ask, if he agrees with me, there should be a correction in his report because it's a bit misleading. And when I initially read this, I got quite excited because I thought there was some money coming towards Loughton. But what I'm referring to is on page 14, in the first paragraph, there's a reference to a playground in Oakwood Hill. And this is going to be supported when it's constructed with money from the UK Shared Prosperity Fund. Now, it just so happens that Loughton Town Council is building a new playground at this very moment, quite close to Oakwood Hill. And I thought, oh, there's some money coming our way, which I wasn't aware of. But having looked at it more closely, I think it actually refers to Oakwood, which is off Round Hills in Waltham Abbey. So it's Oakwood without the hill, plus Waltham Abbey would be the correction. I wonder if he agrees with that, for avoidance of doubt.
Thank you, Councillor Wixley. Councillor Phillip, would you like to just confirm?
The Shared Prosperity Fund has already contributed towards a playground in Waltham Abbey, which some of my officers were there when it was opened. One of the things about the Shared Prosperity Fund, now, call me a cynic if you like, but I have learnt not to spend money from the civil servants until I've actually got it in my bank accounts. Now, I wonder why that would be. Not thinking of going back to any of the time during COVID when we were being told to get money out, get money out, get money out, and then given the receipts for it effectively, and then they say, oh, when we said get money out, we didn't really mean that. So for UK Shared Prosperity Fund, I made it very clear to my officers, nothing happens for year 2 until we've actually got the money. We do actually have confirmation that we are going to get the money. That's still not quite good enough for me. Similarly for the Rural Prosperity Fund, we've actually got the Rural Prosperity Fund, and unfortunately, not, as you say, not everything rotates around Loughton. Loughton is too big for the Rural Prosperity Fund. We only have one of the towns in Epping Forest, which is small enough to be allocated for that. And I'll be bringing forward some information about that going forward. We'll be bringing forward a scheme whereby that town council and parish councils will be able to apply for grants to do capital projects. So that's where we're going. I'm not sure whether I would agree with you around Oakwood Hill, because I have talked about Oakwood Hill with my officers, but I will go back and check and come back to you on that one.
Thank you, Councillor Phillip. Councillor Wixley, I'm conscious of time, so there's other members wishing to speak. Councillor Allgood.
Yes, thank you, Chair. My question will be to the housing portfolio holder, who's not here, so I'm just asking, should anybody know. Qualis inherited Epping Forest's response time to boiler breakdowns in the winter to being within 1 to 2 days. During the summer, a boiler that breaks down, the response time is up to 5 days. I don't understand why summer, when the plumbers are less likely to have work, that we actually offer a worse response time. So my question is, why can't we respond with the same time during the summer rather than at the winter? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm taking it that Councillor Hollywood would probably want to answer that, but does anybody want to take that?
If I can take a punt at that. I think one of the reasons why there's a different response time is the perception of urgency. If during the winter you do not have a boiler, then you do not have any heating. That is clearly much more important than not having heating during summer. Although it has to be said, with this summer, I'm not necessarily sure that's always the case. But that's certainly part of the reason. That is what's driven through. That would have been the service level agreement that was with Gracelands beforehand. That's been taken over into Qualis as that moved across. Fully happy that Qualis will try and do things as quickly as possible. The level of SLA is set by the council. I don't know if it's worth going back and looking at that. If you have examples of it being a problem where it's been more than 2 days, I'm sure Holly would be quite happy to hear from them, and then she can take it up with me and we'll have a look at it.
Thank you, Councillor Phillip. Councillor Kaufman.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a small question on the instructions of she who must be obeyed, and it's for Councillor Balcombe. We have recycling areas in various streets in our districts, bottle banks, recycling clothes, and more, I guess it's because people find they can't access council refuse tips. There's terrible fly tipping going on, and I wonder whether we can increase fines, whether we can police it better, whether we can have CCTV on these places, but they are becoming a repository for dumping, which is pretty awful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kaufman. Is that not a question for Councillor Kane? Sam Kane, enforcement? Oh, Ken Williamson.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I think we're all concerned about fly tipping. There are initiatives going forward. The mobile cameras can be sighted, and we are looking at lots of places to try and do this. Increasing the fines, I think we have tried to maximise our fines, but they're obviously not enough because people take it as a business expense and just carry on doing it. But we are looking at every way we can to try and improve the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Councillor Janet Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman, for allowing a second question. My question was to Councillor Holly Whitbread, but it might be that another portfolio holder is also involved in this. It's about the Old People Strategy. I wanted to ask Councillor Whitbread to say a bit more about the strategy, and in particular, what areas of older people's lives this strategy was covering, and whether old people in the community are being involved in the production of the strategy in some way.
Would you like to respond to that, Councillor Whitbread?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Councillor Whitehouse. I would imagine that Councillor Holly Whitbread will give a response on this, and as you know, she takes regular reports to scrutiny panels on these issues, so I'm sure we'll pick up on that and get her to contact Councillor Whitehouse. I'll put something in writing.
Thank you, Councillor Whitbread. Councillor McIver, you wish to?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and apologies for my lateness. I was at the fantastic Epping Forest Chambers of Commerce, and I encourage members to go and join after the meeting. Mr. Chairman, I was delighted to attend the recent 15-year celebration of our excellent youth council here in Epping Forest. Would the leader or any other members of the Cabinet like to, first of all, congratulate the Youth Council in this chamber, but also remind us all why the Youth Council is so important, and more importantly, praise them for the excellent projects they've done, not just this current cohort, but all previous youth councillors, all 182 youth councillors that have been in this chamber.
Thank you, Councillor McIver. I also had the opportunity to attend that event, and it was an outstanding event. The achievements for the last 15 years, I think it was celebrations, and it was good to see Di there as well at the top there, being helping with the project. Councillor Whitbread, did you want to add?
Chairman, it's actually Councillor Patel. I've already said earlier on this evening what a wonderful event it was.
Councillor Patel.
Thank you, Chairman. So, yeah, I would like to actually, I was in attendance for the 50th celebration. I feel a bit of a fraud because it's a very new portfolio for me. I haven't done a huge deal except for contribute one of my own to the Youth Council. So in terms of my contribution, I think I probably would like to congratulate all the previous councillors and cabinet members who've had that as their portfolio, like, you know, Aniket Patel, and the kids absolutely love all our previous cabinet members who've been involved as well. So, but in terms of saying thank you to all the previous councillors that came, it was just amazing listening to them. They had some great speeches. We've had a PhD doctor from previous live, and we've had in Youth Council, we had an army person, not allowed to tell me what he does for the MOD, but that's fine. We had really, really varied, sort of youth councillors who come. Oh, a comedian as well. Please go watch him at Lopping Hall when he's got the event up. A plug one for you, Charles, if you're watching. But they were just amazing. They were just amazing to see, so many councillors from the last 15 years. And also the new cohorts as well. And, obviously Councillor Mackay was there. You did a great speech yourself. Holly Whitbread. And who else? Did we have anybody else from the current group? No, I think that's it. You two, isn't it, for the current group? But yeah, no, it was a fantastic event. And Councillor McCready was there. And I hope you had a great time too. So apart from the, usual chairman and the cohorts as well. So, fantastic event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Patel. And can I just say that the Youth Council, we should really be proud. They won the award as well for the Jack Petchey Achievements Award as well. But also, you can see how we can have our youngsters look at our local politics and how they take part. And the proof in the pudding is in the eating. You've got Councillor Mackay and Councillor Holly Whitbread. So it's a great encouragement to see you both speak on the day as well. It's just to show the way forward. Thank you, members. I think we've hit the 30-minute marker. I would like to, if it's okay with members, unless somebody has a really burning desire to ask another question, if I can have you moving on to on to item number 10. Motions, Mr. Woodall?
Chairman, there have been no motions received for consideration at this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 11 is Overview and Scrutiny Committee, pages 43 to 64. To receive the Overview and Scrutiny Annual Report for 2022-23, which is attached. So can I invite the Chairman of the Overview and Scrutiny, Councillor Wixley, to take that part?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I think you've taken away quite a few of the words I was going to say, but I think the best thing I can do is break this into two parts, because there's item 11 on the main agenda, and there's also item 11 on the supplement. And then, so starting on the main item on pages 43 to 64, which is the ONS annual report for 2022 to 23. I ask that members approve the report. The report in total is actually on pages 45 to 64. So I don't know if we should take that first, Chairman, if members are happy to support the recommendation of that report.
Councillor Wixley, I think there's a question from Councillor Murray. Just take that, please.
No, it's not a question, Chairman. It's a comment on the report and highlighting one or two issues from the report, which is quite an appropriate thing to do. You'll be very pleased that I won't be commenting on every page, but I am going to comment on 4 areas. So I ask members to turn to page 48, first of all, and the general principles at ONS, which I serve on at the discretion of the council, and I'm grateful for that. Those were really important general principles this year, because it did recognise a change from previous years. We wanted to focus like a laser on the council, and it makes it clear there that if there are outside bodies that we want to do some scrutiny or have a better understanding of, that's going to be done away from the main ONS scrutiny committee, and perhaps have a special briefing and so on for members, but that hasn't occurred yet. So that was a really important change of emphasis that I think is to be welcome. And then on page 50, I wanted to say something about the Youth Council, because I think it's in danger of sounding that the Youth Council only has the support of one group in this council, and that is not the case, Chairman. Can I make it absolutely clear to everyone that the Youth Council has consistently, over the 15 years, had the support of all the councillors. And in fact, I won't go into history, but in fact 2015, councillors from other groups plus backbenchers from the majority group had to do a little bit of nifty footwork to keep the Epping Forest Youth Council in the shape that it is now, because it does an absolutely marvellous job. So I just thought I needed to make that clear, particularly bearing in mind the comments we saw tonight. It is supported absolutely across the chamber, and I would endorse all the positive comments that were made about the Youth Council. I've known youth councillors from lots of different schools, but particularly the one from my old school, Roding Valley High School, and they've got so much out of it and fed it back to their communities. Page 53, Chairman. I wanted to do this again. It's the second meeting in a row, but it's probably my last ever opportunity to do it. And haven't we got a fantastic picture of Councillor Jean Lee on page 53? And again, I just wanted to acknowledge the wonderful job she had done while she was chairing Community Select Committee. So well done, Councillor Lee. Probably the last opportunity I'm going to be able to say that, but I'm sure I can try and find somewhere in the future. And then my last comment, Chairman, is page 61, 62. So let's see what that was before I... yes, it's the litter strategy on page 61 and 62. And as the Chairman, not the Chairman, as the Leader of Council knows, I love litter. I absolutely love litter picking as an active member of the Loughton Wombles. We've read about this litter strategy here, and I know that this isn't the time for questions, but we are having a debate on this report before we accept it. I'm not quite sure what this litter strategy has actually resulted in terms of practice on the ground, so perhaps Councillor Wixley at the next ONS and at the appropriate select committee, we can actually find out what difference this strategy has, because there's absolutely no point in having a strategy if it doesn't actually make a difference on the ground. And, you know, is there less litter? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Murray. Councillor Wixley, did you want members to just sign off the minutes of the meeting that was held on the supplementary?
From my side, I think the recommendation is that the ONS annual report for 2022 to 23 be approved, and I hope members can approve it.
Members, can we agree on that? Agreed, thank you.
Shall I deal with the items on the supplement now?
That's right.
There's a further request from members. The supplement is on pages 71 to 72. The reports refer to the ONS meetings held on the 20th of April 23 and also the one on the 18th of July 2023. And the recommendation there is that the ONS progress report for July 2023 be noted, and that's what I hope members can do.
Members, can we note that report? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Councillor Wixley. We'll move on to item number 12, joint arrangements and external organisations. Do we have any members wishing to report back? Silence. Good. In which case, item number 13 is exclusion of public and press, and there are none. Members, I think we've done a groundbreaking time of finishing this meeting at 7:48 p.m. If there are no other questions or anything else, members, thank you very much for attending, and don't forget to see the Vice Chairman for those badges. Thank you.